I decided to take a break from the groove we've been working on for the past few weeks because I actually really like what that groove is right now. And what that groove isn't is a standard drum and bass song where you have kind of a call and response, like almost like jungle drum and bass, whatever. Like it's not the drum and bass heavy track that I want it to be, which is funny because it's the third time I've restarted trying to make this song because the song ends up becoming something else. But I do think I'm learning a lot every time. So this is a groove I made today with both drums and bass and even some like vocal samples in here. I found this great library I'll link below called the Blue Martin Drum and Bass Jungle Drums Samples. It's got basses, breaks, effects, pads, riffs, and vocals. I used a lot of the breaks as well as a few effects and vocals today. I haven't touched the other stuff. But I wanted to see what would happen if I started from scratch, and I actually did a few things for the first time today. I used the Q sampler to pull in a break beat and to kind of put it to notes so that I could play around with it and have MIDI actually articulate that. So that sounds like this. And you hear how like some of the sounds were clicky and some of the sounds were long, and I would kind of like go back and forth between them, especially over here at the end. It's got kind of a really cool, as things kind of go from being these little clicks to being like an actual breakbeat sound. The breakbeat on its own was very overwhelming. It took up a lot of the sonic space, and so I started messing around with kind of the envelope in the sampler to see kind of like what could I change just by changing this decay here. When it kind of moves around here, you can it changes the way that, you know, the sounds of the breakbeat stick around. So I automated that and kind of created a fun little sound there. Next, I wanted to make a bass drum on my own, so I went around and found a breakbeat that had a bass drum sound that I liked in it. It sounded like this. It was kind of missing that like low fundamental like sub bass to give it kind of a punch. So I layered it with a sine wave that I generated in Vital. I used Span to look at this sound here, and you can kind of see like our lowest partials is kind of in this like 77-ish or so range. It's like right around here. So I just did half of that in Vital, which is like a D sharp in like the first octave. So it's like, you know, 30, 35, 38 hertz or something like that, and just generated that wave here and just layered those up together. It's not super noticeable, but it did seem to make a difference, and it was, and when I would like look at it in the oscilloscope, it like made mathematical sense. You could kind of see it there and Span. It looked like it was doing its job well. It doesn't exactly sound great, but we're getting closer to figuring out how to make the bass drums the way we want to. Next, we just went and found a snare drum. Again, from a break beat there, we rounded off some of the bottom on that one. Oh, actually, I forgot. I unmuted this on accident. This is not the snare drum I've been using. I've actually been using this over here, which is the same snare drum as this, just dragged into the sampler, where they could then kind of pitch it around and change the envelope here. And so I played it at a slightly different pitch. Actually, the groove sounds like this instead of this. Which I think actually fits all together a little bit better. Then we put together some little vocal sample stuff. We got 3 different samples and put them in 3 different places. So to be honest, I have no idea how this little chain effect one got here. I didn't drag that in, but I must have somehow accidentally dragged it in at the same time as I was dragging in some other ones. This drop the bass sample, we put a Valhalla on with a delay to kind of get that bass, 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 bass. This is a sample that's pitched up, but the beginning is dry, and then the last part has the echo. We did kind of a similar thing here on this Let It Roll sample up here. Let it roll. That part, all I think we had kind of done before. The basses was the hard part, the thing that I've been struggling with. I made 2 new basses, or actually no, I reused an old bass that I'd had before and then made a new one to try and combine them here, and the handoff kind of sounds like this. What's going on there is this is the new bass we made. This is the new bass. That wow is the new bass we made. It's this wave being FM'd with this that's down 3 octaves. We had to set the phase at a specific spot to make sure that it kind of gave us the sound we wanted, and then this normal kind of like growler shape is automating this filter to move up and down, and then I bounced it to audio so that I could kind of time it up the right spots, and also I could mainly cut off the tails because I also have a bit of reverb going on with this one. When you put all of it together, it's honestly pretty cool. It's nothing earth-shattering. The weakest part is definitely the kick. While I like its sound, it's not giving me a punch at all. And then I do think that these two basses kind of don't really go together, which is weird because in my head they can go together. And I've definitely heard drum and bass music that has that sort of like wow, kind of like handoff. That's what I'm trying to do here, and it's not working. The two basses they sound like they're kind of coming from different places. Yeah, I spent a few hours on this, and you know, this is of the attempts to make this type of music, I think the closest we've gotten. So maybe we'll build this out into a full track. And yeah, that's all we did today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.